Shalom, my friends. This is the first day of the week, 4/10/16 CE. Most distressing. Ecclesiastes, according to the King James, reports, "Dead flies cause the ointment of the apothecary to send forth a stinking savour. So doth a little folly him that is in reputation for wisdom and honour." I've had a few rough hair days. Seems like I'm losing instead of gaining. In just a moment, let's pause. Dear Heavenly Father, I lost my place. You help me to find it. I'm reminded of how important communion, prayer, and fellowship with Thee is. We commit this time together unto Thy nail-scarred hands, the hands of Thy Son. Lead and guide and teach us what we should know this day, and we'll trust Thee, for we ask it in Thy name and for Thy sake. Amen. Sorry, my friends, I'm a little flustered, obviously. That's 10:1. Now, during the pause, I found it in the hard copy. Dead flies cause the ointment of the apothecary, the perfumer, to stink. So, doesn't matter if we have perfume or not, it's still going to stink. There are dead flies here. Okay? Do you have any dead flies in your life? It causeth the apothecary. To me, that was like the drugstore. Always smelled good in there. To send forth a foul odor, a stinking savor. Savor's, usually something we think of as good. So King James isn't perfect, but it'll do for now, as long as we transliterate it. And we have to, because they grabbed the letters and the copies and the books from another tongue and another language, and we need interpretation of tongues today more than we ever have, more than the Pentecostals do or needed them in the past. A little folly, him that is in reputation for wisdom and honor. Let's look at it a couple of different other ways. The New Living Translation says, "As dead flies cause even a bottle of perfume to stink, so a little foolishness spoils great wisdom and honor." The English Standard Version, "Dead flies makes the perfumer's ointment give off a stench. So a little folly outweighs wisdom and honor." From the article, Ecclesiastes is capable of being understood. Often a study of the book can be a daunting task to undertake. At times it seems confusing, at times self-contradictory, at other times completely hedonistic. I think he means downright hedonistic. From an introduction to Ecclesiastes. Do you know this work? Or do you know of the man called Solomon? His real name is Shlomo, meaning shalom or peace in Hebrew, the son of David, known as David. He succeeded him to the throne and made a tender covenant with Yahweh, his Elohim. We read about this in 1 Kings chapter 3, verse 1, if you'd care to turn with me. And Solomon made affinity with, and you're always welcome to pause the video if you have to go hunt for the book. Solomon made affinity, that's a treaty, with Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and took Pharaoh's daughter and brought her into the city of David, until he had made an end of building his own house, and the house of Yahweh, and the wall of Jerusalem round about. Now I'm reading actually from 2 on now. 13 at the end of this page, and I think it keeps on going. Oh, probably not. Only the people sacrificed in high places, because there was no house built unto the name of Yahweh, YHWH, until those days. And Solomon loved Yahweh, YHWH, walking in the statutes of David his father, only he sacrificed and burnt incense in high places. The king went to Gibeon to sacrifice there. That's religious activity. For that was the great high place. 1,000 burnt offerings did Solomon offer upon that altar. So he was an altar boy. He stayed close to the altar. What can I say? In Gibeon, Yahweh appeared to Solomon in a dream by night, and Elohim said, "Ask what I shall give thee." And Solomon said, "Thou hast shown unto thy servant David, my father, or Dawid, great mercy, according as he hath walked before thee in truth and in righteousness and in uprightness of heart with thee, and thou hast kept for him this great kindness, that thou hast given him a son to sit on his throne, as it is this day. And now, O Yahweh my Elohim, thou hast made thy servant king instead of David my father, and I am but a little child. I know not how to go out or come in. And thy servant is in the midst of thy people which thou hast chosen, a great people that cannot be numbered nor counted for multitude. Give therefore thy servant an understanding heart to judge thy people, that I may discern between good and bad. For who is able to judge this, thy so great a people?" And the speech pleased Yahweh, that Solomon had asked this thing. And Elohim said unto him, "Because thou hast asked this thing, and hast not asked for thyself long life, neither riches for thyself, nor life of thine enemies, but hast asked for thyself understanding to discern judgment, behold, I have done according to thy words. Lo, I have given thee a wise and understanding heart, so that there was none like thee before thee, neither after thee shall any arise like unto thee. And I have also given unto thee that which thou hast not asked, both riches and honor, so that there shall not be any among the kings like unto thee all thy days. And if thou wilt walk in my ways to keep my statutes and my commandments, as thy father David did walk, then I will lengthen thy days." And Solomon awoke, and behold, it was a dream. Now, a dream, yes, but not a dream like the one in Dallas, where Pam awakes to find Bobby still alive and well, eliminating the entire plot of the past season, but rather a very true prophetic dream which came to pass. Solomon's reign indeed excelled them all. After him arose no king quite like him in brilliance and glory. By glory I mean splendor. The man called Solomon, however, was not perfect. He made a lot of little boo-boos along the way, like taking a worldly girl out from Egypt home with him. And his religious practices suffered somewhat. He sacrificed in high places because obviously he did not know it was wrong. He must have missed that Sunday school lesson that day. Oh, that's right, he missed Sunday school altogether because he was seventh-day Sabbath observant. But Solomon had some good, no great things going for him. He aimed to build a house for Yahweh so that Yahwistic religion could be more readily distinct from the land, fitting into Yahweh's plans for a special distinct people. Another thing that sells me on Solomon was that he loved Yahweh. He wasn't some nominal churchgoer who could care less once he stepped outside the four walls. But he loved Yahweh. And Yahweh loved him back. He wasn't a big blowhard who only cared about himself and his kingdom. He had a genuine desire for the welfare of Yahweh's people. In return, Yahweh blessed the socks off of Solomon. Maybe that's why all those guys wore sandals back then? I don't know. I have few problems comparing scriptures with one another. Paul makes an astonishing series of statements in his first letter to the Corinthians, according to the restored name, beginning with 2:13 on through 15, which things also we speak, not in the words which man's wisdom teacheth, but which the set-apart Spirit teacheth, comparing spiritual things with spiritual. But the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of Yahweh, for they are foolishness unto him, neither can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned. But he that is spiritual judgeth all things, yet he himself is judged of no man. 13:9 through 12, for we know in part and we prophesy in part. I'm sorry, my nose is itching and I can't scratch it right now. But when that which is perfect is come, then that which is in part shall be done away. When I was a child, like Solomon, I spoke as a child, I understood as a child, I thought as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. For now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know, even as also I am known. When something stinks to high heavens, it's not very pleasant to endure. Few people want to be around obvious stenches, as the wisdom of Solomon points out. But when it comes to spiritual discernments, it's tough, because the natural man can't know what I'm really referring to, because he's spiritually discerned. He probably can't smell what I do, because his nose is all stuffed up. The odor doesn't bother him, or he's grown used to it. He has an old satanic nature, which binds him into spiritual darkness, and he can't see the light for the life of him, as many people find out when they have a near-death experience and go to the other side. And often the other side isn't the light like so many report. For many, it's a place of darkness and fire, a place prepared for the devil and his angels. So it's not fun. John 3:6, for that which is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the Spirit is spirit. This is 3:6, and it's 6:63. It is the Spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit, and they are life. But there are some of you that believe not. For Yahushua knew from the beginning who they were that believed not, and who should betray him. It's a pitiful excuse to rebuff the authorized version upon the claim that it's too hard to understand, and therefore modern-day versions are preferred, without even knowing the basis for their translation or how much they rob from the authorized. The man called Peter didn't abide such pitiful, weak, relative excuses in his day. In 2 Peter 3:15 through 16 we read, and account that the long-suffering of our Master is salvation, even as our beloved brother Paul, also according to the wisdom given unto him, hath written unto you, as also in all his epistles, speaking in them of those things in which some things hard to be understood, which they that are unlearned and unstable wrest, as they do also the other scriptures, to their own destruction. Now in part 2, we're going to pick up from where we left off here at the end of part 1. Shalom, my friends. Thanks for joining me.